Kia ora, Lara here, and joining it back in with Scraptember, and I believe this is day 7, but I may have got that wrong. I'm a bit out of order and catching up. You can find me on Instagram and Facebook under Scrappykea, as well as here on YouTube. And if you enjoy this video, I really hope that you'll subscribe. Check the playlist for other Scraptember layouts that are being done. Now, today's theme is about stickers. So I actually went into my supply of sort of outdoor stickers and sticker sheets leftovers and things like that, to sort of find some outdoors and camping type stickers that I can work with or work into this page and in this layout. So the photo that I've got here to document is basically just sort of a table view of kind of the freeze-dried food in the background, as well as a cup. Now the cup is sort of one of those enamel tin kind of cups, and my daughter and I purchased this when we did a bit of a West Coast road trip a year or 18 months or so ago, and I just thought that that would be quite an appropriate thing to document. She was here with me on the trip, and it's kind of a sort of an outdoors camping kind of cup, so it kind of that's just part of the story that I was telling about the food and the way you eat kind of things when you are away tramping, and the food isn't as tasty or delicious or as easy to put together as at home. In some ways it's actually easier because you just add water, but it certainly is nourishing. So because you've done all the walking and used all the energy, you kind of feel like you need the food, and it's kind of rewarding in that sense, even if it's not as tasty and special as other food that you would often have at home. So I've just created some layers here of some papers. I've just back home, so I delved into my scrap paper box. I sort of have a pizza box that leftovers from kits or collections and things, when they're sort of not a full-size piece, I just pop them into an old pizza delivery box, which, close to my heart, sends all of our deliveries in these kind of little pizza boxes. So that's sort of where that came from. So bringing in here some colours that I'm going to use through some through some stencils, and just having a quick look through these stencils that I've got here. Some of them are taller and some are smaller. They're sort of meant for cards and bigger cards and stuff like that, but I've tended to use them for a few layouts, so you can check back on some other videos where I've used similar ones as well. And I decide here to go for this sort of one here that's sort of got a little bit of a texture in it. Now, I'd done those paper layers in the background, but it just sort of felt like it needed something more in there, and so the stencils are just a nice way to add a little bit of a touch of something else, rather than dominating or adding lots and lots of paint or colour. It just adds a touch of texture and things. So I've used, I think, sapphire, I'm not even sure if it's sapphire now that I've said that, and speckled egg. So I've just put a bit of those two colours, and one of them I used sort of this line stencil, and then the other one was a dot kind of, and so it's just kind of a nice subtle background effect in there. So here's my sort of cluster of layers. So I'm going to go and stick each of these on in sort of that order that I had. Now this is sort of an outdoors paper that I got a while ago, and again it was just in that scraps container, so it tied in quite nicely. That was from a wood grain paper pack. Lots of cool wood grains came in it. I think it's still available. It was quite a handy one for lots of backgrounds and stuff like that, and just pulling in the photo to make sure I'm putting these sort of layers behind the photo in the correct spot. In this piece I didn't cut or trim, I just used it as it was. I really like that wee border and kind of the contours that came in that gave you that outdoor kind of feel with it. So I'm just using some foam tape here to attach down my photo, because I sort of have in mind that I may pop some stickers underneath it or something like that. So I just want that space to be able to tuck them in there. So here we go, found some words that'll work, and I'm just going to tuck them in there. And end up finding and pulling in some trees and a few other stickers. So I didn't really use lots of stickers, and I did want to use this mountain one, but it was just that bit too big for what I've put together on this 8.5 by 11, and pulled the Explore sticker. It's got quite a nice sort of greeny, emeraldy, shiny bit in there that says Explore. Yeah, so just tucking a few of those in, and there's those trees that I've just sort of snuck in there as well. So haven't gone overboard with the stickers, but have got enough there for interest and to meet that brief of using stickers. So here's some from the Flower Shop collection, some little banners. I'm just going to trim them down. It just felt like the layout needed something at the top just to pull the eye up a little bit instead of disappearing right off the page after looking at the photograph. So that bluey stripe colour there, I just thought tied it in nicely with the cup, with sort of the dark rim that it's got. So now sort of thinking through what else I can add to this, how else I could embellish or set this up, and I decided to bring in these sort of wood grain chipboard kind of alpha. These do need adhesive, so they're not self-adhesive ready to go. So I'm just going to pull them out and place them to start with, and then I will get some liquid glass to add them to the page. So just pulling out the letters here to put in place. So these wood grain alpha, I'm really pleased that Close to My Heart put these out because I've used these and both the black ones quite a bit. They're not too expensive. That's quite a cool font that can be used for lots of different things. And just a really simple, easy project. I've actually just put together a new kit for the next scrapbook weekend that we've got coming up at the end of this month, and that includes some of these wood grain letters just because it means people have got a little bit of flexibility with titles. I've often found lettering and stuff quite tricky for these kits. You have to kind of rely on the sticker sheets and stuff like that, or I have to cut some titles out on the Cricut for people to use, but it's quite nice having some alpha that I can add to these kits so that people can actually be a bit more flexible with the titles that they want on their pages. So you may have seen in one of my other layout videos for Scraptember where I talked about items you hoard, and I talked about alpha stamps. And they're another really good, quick and easy way to add a bit of interest or something different using a different font. So I collect those fonts and lettering because every layout kind of needs a title or a way of letting the reader or myself or family, whoever's looking at this, to actually know what the layout's going to be about. So the journaling that I'm adding here is pretty much along the lines of what I said to you at the start when I was talking about the photograph with of the table view with freeze-dried food and the cup that my daughter and I got on our West Coast road trip. Loving using this pen actually. It's another, I think it's a Le Pen in black. It's been a really nice journaling pen. It's just got a nice flow and a nice rich colour. Here's some close-ups or some still shots of the layout. Again, hope you've enjoyed this. Hope you've checked out some of the Scraptember playlist videos that are coming up. And if you've enjoyed it, I'd really like you to subscribe. I'm only, I think, less than 80 people away from reaching 1,000, and I'd love to get there at some point soon. Thanks for watching.